Today we're going to look at the story of one of those major life transitions that takes place in the servant of God. This is my good friend and covenant brother, Pastor Bunden Wichapa.
God had given me a new beginning, a purpose. But my leaders told me I could not fulfill this call because of my past. I was devastated.
Desperation first brought Bunden Wichapa to the foot of the cross of Christ. A risky business venture went sour, and Bunden took his family and fled under cover of darkness, hoping to escape his creditors, his debts, and his regrets.
I was a teacher for 17 years, until I quit my job to open a clothing factory. The business was doing very well and we wanted to expand, so we turned to the bank for a loan. I assumed we wouldn't have a problem getting a loan, so we went ahead and began our expansion to the factory. But then the bank refused to grant the loan. My debts began to overwhelm me and I panicked, knowing I could not repay all my creditors. I woke up my family one night and told them to get in the car. We just drove and drove, away from this nightmare, this horrible life.
Bunden brought his family to Kanchanaburi, Thailand, in hopes of building a new life. But his new business failed to get off the ground. Bunden had nowhere left to turn.
I tried to start a new business in Kanchanaburi, but this failed as well. I didn't know what to do. I was at the bottom. Then someone told me about Jesus Christ, and I surrendered my life to him.
Bunden received new hope for a bright future as he served the Lord in his church. It seemed Jesus Christ had given Bunden a new beginning, and Bunden began to sense the call of God on his life to become a full-time pastor and church planter.
I finished my training and I was excited about planning my first church.
But Bunden's past had followed him into his new life and threatened to undo all the dreams he had for his future. As Bunden prepared to launch the church, his leaders approached him privately. "We cannot allow you to plant a church under our organization because of your bankruptcy."
My leaders refused to allow me to plant a church because of my past sins. I thought, I am never going to be free. I was devastated.
Deeply hurt by his leaders' rejection, Bunden left the church and went to work with his brother. Bitterness threatened to overtake his heart, but Bunden knew he was called to preach the gospel.
But during this time, God gave me 1 Thessalonians 5:18. "Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you." This gave me strength to get back on my feet and trust Him with my life.
After a season of working with his brother, Bunden finally quit and began to pursue God's call on his life, taking more training courses and serving faithfully in church. As Bunden was being trained in the Word, God began to heal the wounds in his heart regarding his past failures. Working with a new organization, he planted his first church in northeastern Thailand.
I planted my first church in an area where there was no church at all. The church was going and many people were healed and coming to the Lord, but something was missing and I began to pray.
Bunden met Dr. Al Purvis and heard about the vision of Victory Asia. He knew this vision was the key to seeing exponential growth in Thailand and began working together with Dr. Al and his team. For 14 years, Bunden has planted 10 churches in Thailand. Through Bundan's life, thousands of people have been impacted by his ministry. By the grace of God, Bundan overcame the shadows of his past to fulfill a great destiny. Today we honor Bundan Wachaipa for his years of selfless service with Victory Asia. He leaves us a lasting legacy, an example for a new generation, to give as selflessly, to love as passionately, to surrender as fully, to bring the gospel of Jesus Christ to the hearts of all Thai people.
Well, thank you for watching Continuum today, and this is exciting to watch the transition of a man like Pastor Bundan, who has devoted so many years of sacrificing into this ministry, into our ministry, and now we get to release him and see him go ahead in the next steps and the next things that God has for him. You know, God always has something new and something for us. As we continue to be faithful in what he's given us today, he will open up a great future for you. So I want you to come back and get more Great Commission action from this side of the Continuum next week.